Okay guys, moving on to probably one of the most important steps of this build, going with the turbocharger. We got to set these cylinders and pistons and rings up for boost. When the boost hits these rings, it warms them up real good. When they get warm, they like to expand, which actually closes the ring gap. See here on this top one, I got the rings free on this first one. So everything's moving and popping. So we can go ahead and pull those off. Got the oil ring pulled off down here. Piece of stick-on sandpaper. My nice stainless table here, it's nice and flat. I know that. I've actually checked it with a straight edge. It's really nice and flat. Piece of sandpaper here. Stick it down. This is 200 grit. And what I like to do is this is just part one of the oil. This is 3 of the bottom oiler rings. There's some carbon on here. Just take it, rub it on there. Works great actually. Cleans it off absolutely wonderful. Doesn't gouge it or cause any issues with it, so we can definitely reuse it. Won't be a problem. Nice light sandpaper does a wonderful job there. I'll zoom in and show you guys here in a minute. So what we're going to do, we're just going to pop these rings out. We're going to stick them in the cylinder here. Get everything lined up with the piston. Essentially we'll put the piston in upside down like that to push the ring down to square it up to make it nice and flush all the way around. Then that way we can take our feeler gauge, slide it in, get an exact measurement of the ring gap. The end gap is what we need to worry about. That end gap, if it touches, no go. Not good. We want everything happy and moving. A little bit of oil between there is even good too. It's not really going to happen with the turbo. Turbo blows it out. That extra boost that comes past that gap will go in the crankcase. Little crankcase vent. We'll get rid of that. It's not a problem. It's okay. Feeler gauge. Once we get everything measured, then we'll know what's really going on. Without doing this, you really risk destroying the whole top end. If the ring touches and that piston comes apart, it'll destroy the cylinder head next time it comes up, because that broken piston's hanging out. Not good. Got to do this, guys. Makes a big difference. And then once again, when you get everything cut to size and get it fitting perfect, you don't have to worry about it anymore. You can crank the boost up, make a bunch of horsepower, and have good fun. Yeah. Okay, so come down here and I'll show you. You can see this one's clean. Gave it a little rub here on my sandpaper. You can see it's cleaner. This one over here, this would have been the top of the oil ring. This is the middle. This would have been the bottom. You can see the carbon on there. See it on there real good. Oh yeah. See the lumps of carbon? The oil ring would not have liked that. That carbon will cause it to hang up and stick in the piston groove. In the ring groove, if it's not clean, so you can see there still, even though this spent time in the ultrasound and got all cleaned up on the top and looking like it was clean, it's really not. Underneath that ring, you can still see the carbon and the deposits. A little bit of varnish, a little bit of carbon, a little bit of whatever else got in there. That's all got to come out, along with this here. Once we get this one cleaned up, we'll pick at this one. This one's a bit harder to clean. You got to kind of just pick it with the pick. I have this little pick here. This little pick does a wonderful job. Lets me really get in the recesses there, pick it all clean, and then it can go back in the ultrasound. Now that it's all taken apart, they go back in the ultrasound for a complete cleaning before they get reassembled here. Everything works out good. So, let me show you here, guys. We're going to take this ring here. See, it's really dirty. You can see the little shiny spot there on the edge where it was touching, but the inside here, it's really dirty. That side, a little better, but still dirty. That's the side that faces the oiler. We're going to put that upside down there, and we're just going to give it a little rub here. Yeah, I can see some of the dirt that already came off. And I like to hold my finger right over the gap so it doesn't expand it on the sandpaper. Luckily your hand does a wonderful job here. Nope. Oh yeah, look at that, guys, already. Look at that. Yeah, beautiful. Looking great. Touch that up one more time there. And you can kind of see wherever it's not touching, that's where you just need to put a little more pressure with your hand. Yeah, looking great. Looking great. Clean up this side now too. Once again, I always pay attention to the upside. Always pay attention to the way stuff goes. The more you pay attention, the more it helps. Blueprint doesn't always have to happen on a sheet of paper with a bunch of numbers and a computer and a bunch of data and blah, 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 blah. The blueprint really happens here, guys. If your brain can understand all of the physics to make the entire engine happen, you'll figure it out. It's not that hard to do. It may seem like a whole lot, way too many parts to try and figure out. Break it down. The piston has a couple parts. The rod has a couple parts. It's just a rod and a couple bolts, end cap, couple bearings, no big deal. Simplify it. Break it down until you can understand the physics of each piece. Not even the physics, the engineering and the use for each piece, what it needs to do. All this needs to do is hold that in place in here. If it's all clean, all fits together, works great. That's the way Honda designed it. They did a wonderful job designing this stuff, guys. Absolutely wonderful. So we're going to take this down, get it cleaned up some more. That's how that's going to go on all the oiler rings for all 4 pistons. That's how that's going to work. Okay. Now here, on the piston, we need to pop these rings off, and I'll show you guys a little trick that I've learned many, many years ago that I've used so many times I can't even tell you, about getting these rings on and off here real easy. Let me get it set up here and I'll show you. Okay. So now, what you can see here with the piston, we need to pop the ring, push the ring from the back side so that there's the gap sticking out. So we can actually just push, now that these are free, these were stuck, luckily they're free now. So we push up, pull up on the ring until it just starts to come free. You can see I just barely got it out of the ring groove. There we go. Get it up on top of the piston and just barely pulled out. Don't worry about moving this end yet. It can stay right there. What we need to do, just barely pull out. See how it wants to rotate off? See, guys? It's not stressing the ring. It's not twisting it. It's not really doing anything. It just opens it up just a little bit. Pop it back. It's good to go. That side faces up. That side faces down. Goes down here like that, so we know that side faces up. Same thing here on the bottom one. We just have to pull it up past the first groove there. Once again, pull it a little bit loose, start to pull it back. You can lock it into that first groove if you want to, but they don't really need to. They flex and they can move. As long as you just don't move too far, they will snap if you go too far, but luckily Honda, that's how they started life, was making these piston rings. Not sure if you guys know, but every Ford engine from the very beginning had Honda piston rings. I know some people like Ford, some people don't. I tend to like them. Ford hot rods are kind of hard to beat. There we go. That one's off. All clean. Once again, Ford hot rods are kind of hard to beat, and if they would have never happened because of Honda's engineering on some piston rings, I'm not sure. I'm not sure this would even happen. Because after Henry Ford bought lots of Honda piston rings, that's how he was able to design all of this, guys. So, I think we both owe them a lot of credit for really all this. Thanks, guys. Once again. So, piston's looking good. What I got here, this is my ring file. Or I call it my ring file. I know it's just a little file, a little skinny baby file. I use it to file the end gaps, and I use it to file the grooves. It fits in there almost absolutely perfect. You just barely touch it, because this thing will pull off metal pretty quick, actually. It's a jeweler file made for making really fine jewelry, and it works really good. So we're going to use it to get in here, clean that groove out. Use the pick too. If there's any chunks, get in there and pick that apart. Clean this out. Get it looking real good. And then, once again, that goes up. And you also know here on the top, this is the intake valve cutaway, and that's the exhaust dot. We know the piston faces that way in the engine. Goes that way, all of them. See, the pin goes that way, piston goes that way. So once again, keep all that noted. Okay, here's our top ring. I did actually already measure it, and I already filed it. I forgot to turn the camera on for you guys. So it's good to go. This is our second ring. It needs just a bit bigger gap because it goes a little bit lower on the piston. And the bigger the gap here, the easier everything can breathe. And it's just the way it works best. I have a chart that I'll show you guys that I've used for many years now for just measuring end gaps. And on this one, what I measured up was, if you guys can see there, 0.011 is my top ring gap, and 0.014 is my bottom ring gap. You can see, not a big gap, but it's enough to get the boost through and be able to give everybody room to wiggle. And actually, the number that I came up with, this bore, you'll see on the chart, this bore is 2.38 inches. You take that times 0.0050, and I come up with little less than this. I always like to go a little bit over just to keep things safe. The more room you can give these guys, the happier they're going to be. But if you cut the ring gap too big, you lose boost past it. It goes in the crankcase. It's not great. Nah. So keep a happy margin there so everybody can work and still move around and be happy. So once again, this is what I use, guys. It's all kind of up to whatever you want to do. Everybody's a little bit different, so that's okay. Figure out what you want to do, make it happen. So we're going to take this. Actually, that one's done. We're going to take this one. What I like to do, stick it in there just so it closes up like that. And then move it down. Kind of pull up and move down at the same time. Goes right in there. Use the piston. Once again, the piston, we're actually facing us, so the piston faces that way, so that's where we're going to line it up. Dot goes that way. We're going to use this to push the ring flat. And what we can do, we can line up the groove all the way around. Let me get it down in there. Okay, I think we're looking good there. Looking real good. So we can see that ring is fitting in there totally flush. It's where it's going to be when it's on the piston. Pop that out. Now we can see right there. That's our ring gap. See that little bitty gap right there? It's not a lot. And once again, we're going for 0.014. So let's just see. Yep, doesn't fit. Just barely starts to go in, but doesn't really go in there. That's okay. That's kind of what I was expecting. Once again, they're all going to need a little help. Number 2 is actually, it's still soaking because the rings are actually still stuck in it. These are good to go, but that number 2 piston, I got out the oiler rings, but the 2 top rings, no, they're giving me a little fight. So still working on that one. So needs a little bit of work. Get her to fit just a little bit. Once again, that's the best thing about this jeweler file. This thing cuts really good. And just a few passes on this ring will... It's amazing what this thing can really do, guys. Don't think we need a grinder. Don't think we need anything powered. Right here. Right here. Okay. We're going to pop this ring out, fold it up, slide it back out. What we're going to do here, a couple passes with this thing, it's going to be good to go. I like to hold it so my finger is resting on the file and holding the ring. I can see it shining up already there. Yeah. Each pass with this thing is almost about a half a thousandth. So be easy, guys. Don't think you need to do too much. Flip it over here. We'll get this other side. Oh yeah, that's looking great. And then we file these edges. See that little bit of shine right there on the edge? That's what you want. You don't want to have a burr there because it'll hang up in the ring groove. This file does a wonderful job knocking that off. Once again, just a couple short passes there, pops it right off and you're good to go. Yep, looking real good. Looking wonderful, guys. Okay, there we go. And I did note before, there's a mark right there. I just happen to look for marks on these. That little mark right there, that way I know this is the top. This side faces up. We're going to stick it in here again. Let me just make sure, let me get it wiped off here, make sure there's no funny business on here. Blow it off. Stick it in. Fold it down. Line it up. Piston pointing the right way. Stick it in here. Push it down. Level it up. All the way around. Yep. Looking good. That can come out. Go back with our 0.014. Oh, looky there, guys. Yep, that did it. That gave us the room. Wasn't much, but that gave it. You can probably see now. See the gap now? You can actually see it. When you can see it, that's the that's what makes things work. Good to go. Once again, we can see here with our 011, yeah, we got plenty of gap there, so more than enough room. 011 is what we have for the top one. 014 is for the bottom one. Things are looking real good, guys. Real good. So let me show you here. This side faces up. Pop this one back out. Once again, rotate it up. Slide it out. This side does face up. There's our mark. So what we're going to do here, show you guys. See the ring groove? These top ones are clean. I cleaned those out and I filed them already, so I know we're good to go with putting these back in. So we're just going to slide that in there. And if we give it a rotate all the way around, we can feel it. It's nice and clean and that it's going to work out good. There's going to be no hang-ups, no funny business. So once again, bring this back around. Okay, so we start here. Of course, you can see my squish thumb there with my, my funky nail. We're just going to pull this up and we're going to put it right there. Just like that. Nothing funny, nothing crazy. See how that just kind of twists just a little bit and lines up. Now, once we come past this dome, we just push it on. It's not, there's no stretching, there's no tools needed, there's no any of that. You pull it down a little bit, start to move it around. Right here's the only trick. You just got to pull it just a little bit, get it up on there. Pull it just a little bit more, get it past the groove. Start to snap it down and in, and it pretty much goes by itself. Voila, we are good to go. Bottom ring is in. Gap is cut. We're good to go. Gap is cut and measured, so we know we're good to go. Our visual blueprint in our mind is happy. It's been made good. So once again, stick this in just like that. Pop that up, stick it right there. No big deal. Push this around. Lines up perfect. Just barely start to push down over here. while you pull on this side. There we go. Just like that. So it lines up about a third of the way there, almost half of the way. Pop this out. Just like that, and it already just snapped right back in. Those piston rings were tough to get out, but they sure want to go back in. I don't blame them. Yes. Okay, now we can see here if we line them up. They won't be lined up when we... Okay, line them up. Then we can see here, we squish them down. See how we still have good gaps in there? I'm not squishing them all the way, but that's a lot like what it'll look like when it's in the cylinder. Looking real good, guys. That one is done. Once we get this oiler ring picked apart, we can put these back in the same way. That one goes there. Stick it in there. It's good. Awesome. Okay, now we just have to repeat everything for the rest of the pistons. And the one that I have soaking, it's soaking in seafoam right now. It's been warmed up, it's been chilled down, it's been soaked, it's been everything. The rings just do not want to move yet, so we're gonna work on that some more next, because that's the next one up is number 2, and that's the one we're missing. So we're gonna see what we can do. May have to try and find us a new one, and if so, luckily eBay has several sets that I've looked at, so I think we should be good to go there. Just have to dig up some funds and make that happen. We definitely need us another piston. Can't have 3. Okay, that's pretty much the gapping and measuring process. It's not really that difficult. A little bit of taking apart, a little bit of time spent cleaning things up. Once again, cleaning, making sure it's as clean as possible really is the biggest thing. These end gaps have to be clean, the rings have to be clean, the pistons have to be clean, the cylinder walls have to be clean. Once they get all this stuff done and cleaned up with the file and everything fitting, it's all going to go back. It's going to get, the outside's probably going to get blasted. It may get vapor home. We'll see what Steve and Jerry want to do. Steve likes doing this stuff too. Appreciate the help from everybody, guys. Couldn't really do it without you. Looking good here. Figure out that second piston. If not, find us another one. Luckily there's a bunch of them out there. It's the best thing about these engines. Really why I like using these versus other stuff. I'm not sure how many these Honda made, but they made them for 7-8 years, and they're all over the globe. Just in my state, there's probably thousands that don't run. They're just sitting against a barn. They're sitting in the corner somewhere. This engine was from somewhere in Missouri that I went to go buy other parts for, and this one came with, I'm trying to remember back, it came with I think some seat parts I went to go buy, and the guy had this sitting in the corner. It's like, yeah, I'll take that, and here we go. Really, right now I'm looking for another one too, because I want to have another backup. I want to pretty much do it exactly like this, but maybe a little more compression, and we'll see. Really what I decided to kind of do with this, I've worked out these stock parts a lot of times in the past, guys, with several different builds. I've built a bunch of CBs. I want to push these. I've talked to several people that have pushed them, that put quite a bit of boost to these things and didn't really have any problems except for the tuning factors. Figuring out having hiccups with, backfiring and bending valves, that is not good. I haven't had any problems there with my setup with the pitot tube and the pitot pressure and good fuel. That pretty much eliminates a lot of that. Plus with the MSD box, I can pull timing. I think that's what really does it. That's what controls the backfiring. Backfiring is not good. It may sound cool, woo, bang, bang, bang. It kills parts. No, doesn't like it. New fuel injected stuff, you can control it a lot more, so it's a bit more acceptable. With the carburetor, not so much. The two-step, it's okay because I'm just holding an RPM. As long as I'm not banging it out the turbo, I have, and it's cool as hell, I must say. But I can't. It's not good. Once again, trying to preserve these parts. They're wonderful parts. I want to push them. We're going to run the stock pistons. We're going to run the stock bottom end. We're going to run the stock rods. I'm going to give it a little cleaning and balancing. We're going to turn this one almost 20 pounds of boost. We're not going to take much timing out of it. We're going to run some wicked race gas through it. I think it's going to work real good, guys. Like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for all your help. Once again, couldn't really do it without you. Yes.
Yeah, tastes like magic. Got to have it. Tastes like magic. Got to have it. I want it now, I want it later. Chasing a dream, put it on paper. Nothing can stop me, not even haters. Bring me that flavor. I want it now, I want it later. Chasing a dream, put it on paper. Nothing can stop me, not even haters. Bring me that flavor. Tastes like magic. Got to have it. Tastes like magic. Got to